Okay guys, chapter 1 section 4 is on inverses of functions. An inverse relation reverses the pairing. So you have a pairing of x, y that we talk about all the time, x and y, when we plot them on a graph. The inverse of that relation, so this is considered a relation, x, y is a relation. The inverse of that would be yx. So your domains and your ranges would switch places, is pretty much all that is saying. An inverse function, we write, of course, our function is f of x, but it becomes f to the negative 1 of x is what an inverse function is written as. So inverses have that little negative 1 power. Our regular function does not. So determining if this is actually a function and what its inverse is what we're going to work on. So we have the function, my domains, my x values, my range, my y values. Negative 4 is paired with negative 2. 0 is paired with negative 3. 1 is paired with 2. 4 is paired with 1. So when we go ahead and do the reverse, we're going to flip that. So instead of negative 2 being in the range column, it's now in the domain. So negative 2 is paired with negative 4. Negative 3 is going to be paired with 0. Two is paired with 1, and 1 is paired with 4. So all we did was flip our domains and our ranges. So is this a function? Each pairing goes to only one other pairing. So yes, this is a function because each input has only one output. So taking the inverse is a good way to be able to tell if you have a function or not. So let's look at the second one. Negative 4 is paired with negative 2. 0 is paired with negative 3. 1 is paired with 2. 4 is paired with 2. So if we take the inverse, negative 2 goes with negative 4, just flipping there. Negative 3 goes with 0. 2 goes with 1. And 2 also goes with 4. So is this a function? No. And that's because the input 2 has two different outputs, and those being 1 and 4. So it's a function if each input has only one output. It cannot be a function if an input has two outputs. Okay, so that's even finding the inverse of a pairing or an inverse of a relation. You just flip your x and your y's. So it's a short lesson today, but moving on, finding an inverse of a linear equation. So finding the inverse of a linear function or equation, there's 4 steps. Step 1 is to sub y for f of x. Step 2 is to solve for x in terms of y, and I'll explain that when we get there. Step 3 is to switch x and y. And step 4 is to replace y with f to the negative 1 of x, or the inverse of f of x. So my example, f of x equals 3x plus 4. Step 1, I'm going to replace f of x with y. So I'm going to say y equals 3x plus 4. Like I told you in class, they are interchangeable. From there, step 2 is to solve for x in terms of y. So your favorite thing, we're going to get x by itself. So this is step 2. I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. Y minus 4 equals 3x. And then I'm going to divide by 3 on both sides. So I cancel out the 3. I have y minus 4 over 3 equals x. Okay, so that was all of step 2. Step 3, hopefully the green shows up. Step 3 is to switch x and y. So I'm going to say, I'm just going to switch where x and y are. I'm going to say y equals x minus 4 over 3. And then lastly, step 4, I'm going to replace y with f to the negative 1 of x. So f negative 1 of x equals x minus 4 over 3. And that is the inverse function of f of x equals 3x plus 4. So let's go ahead and do another one of those. So example 2, I have f of x equals 2x minus 2. Step 1, I'm going to replace f of x with y. So y equals 2x minus 2. Step 2, I'm going to solve for x. So if I have y equals 2x minus 2, I'm going to add 2 to both sides. Y plus 2 equals 2x. I'm going to divide by 2. Y plus 2 over 2 is going to equal x. Step 3, I'm going to switch x and y. So y is going to equal x plus 2 over 2. And then step 4, I'm going to replace y with f of x, or f to the negative 1 of x. So the inverse of f of x is going to equal x plus 2 over 2. Okay, that's it. That is section 4's lesson. Your homework was page 40, 41. 2 to 12 even. I believe that's what it said on the agenda. Be sure to be checking that agenda and make sure that there is a worksheet, if there is a worksheet, to do it.